We'll begin the session. If just a note, guys, please mute your mics. If there's any question, we'll take them by the end. Um, Firstly, thank you all for joining here. This AI webinar is hosted at AI chapter at Sedin Technologies. We have our host here, who's Senthil. He is a founder of Muonium AI and also co-founder at Sedin Technologies. He has been forefront in AI innovations, working on projects that have led significant impact across various industries. Senthil comes with deep expertise in AI technologies and a strong background from business. He's also been instrumental in solving complex problems through innovative AI solutions. Today, he'll be taking us, giving his insights on future of tech in India, Gen AI, natural language processing, and how AI is transforming the business. Before we begin again, guys, just a reminder, we'll take the questions in the end, and please keep your mics on mute. With that, Senthil, I'll hand it over to you.
Hi, good afternoon. So on a Thursday evening, seeing a lot of people here, and many I think I know in person as well. So good to see them all. Sure. So, okay. So earlier we had a concept called software has eaten the world, right? So everything was software, and nearly everything what was software has moved towards AI, right? Nearly every industry, every software you already work with, AI is coming into in that way. So we are going to cover. So though I do a lot of work predominantly in movies, in entertainment, animation, graphics, images, I do a lot of AI in that way. But I thought since it's a new series from Sedin, do something which is more relevant for industry. So we're going to talk about Indic languages and how AI is enabling it. Okay, so let's divide a couple of parts. Okay, so so we know what is internal. So two topics. Okay, internationalization and localization. There are two topics which is pretty common. I think me and Dinesh, I think we did our first project in that space way back in 2004, about 20 years back. So same content. Okay, so different countries, people speak different languages. And how do you build websites for those languages? So first part, different languages. So eventually we have a standardized on Unicode. So having content on different language, so Unicode is what probably implementation is what would comes into play. Okay. And the difference with localization will be what if multiple countries speak same language? Let's say English is spoken in India, probably in Singapore, in let's say UK and America. Okay, but they use certain things differently, very specific for them. It could be currency, it could be units they use for. Like in India, we use kilometers. Maybe in US they use miles. So can we do something customization for that? Okay. So we'll take one example. Okay, as of today, Sedin has a site only in English, and we are talking if we can bring it into several languages. So doing international was straightforward, but I'm saying, hey, can we bring all the past content, blog posts and everything, can we bring them all in Indian language as well? So India has not been a very large market for us for now, but theoretically it's become possible now, and see how we can work on it. Okay, so so assume we have English websites and we want to translate in multiple languages. The old school way would be, hey, you use a content management system or a site which will deliver the site for you. It could be PHP or Ruby on Rails or any technology which does it. The way we equivalent to English sentence or phrase can we implement in other languages. That's what it comes into, right? So we can normally go into a translator, a person who has to translate the content in that language. It is a manual work which gets done, and somebody will approve it and then deliver it to maybe the content team or maybe a tech team. Depends on how the site or technology has been built, and they will implement that language into it, and somebody has to do a QC in that way. Is it relevant? Okay, is it a technical translation? Is it a business language? Because site is more business, I believe. Okay, and so these are things which should manage and match. Can this be done? Yes, many companies. Okay, now most small companies have English, and all the big companies, right? They will have sites in multiple languages because the complexity involved, and getting it done in different country and language, the cost is higher. So we have done these kind of work earlier for different clients as well. So what is new in it? Okay, so this is where we're going to talk about. Okay, now again, what are the modalities for a language comes into play? Okay, so we have been doing written and content for a long time. So typed content is available, but a lot of other content is available in some let's say a physical scan is possible or a PDF content is available. Can we transcribe it? Okay, so OCR has been there for a long time. Again, nothing new on that part. But what I'm going to talk about is new Let's take example of, let's say, Tamil language, which a lot of people in Tamil Nadu speak, and common language. Okay, government had multiple standards. So central government had its own standard. I think Brahmi and Base, they had some systems which they used for encoding. Okay, character letters are same, but in ASCII equivalent they will have a different encoding. Tamil Nadu government had some system of their own. Private DTP operators in last 2 or 3 decades, they use different systems. You have a proprietary software or hardware dongle for you to encode it, and these were designed for print media or for television. That's what was there for the last. And again, if you see people in, if you go to Japan or let's say Germany or France or any other country, all the people they type in their own language. They don't type primary in English. Their keyboard has special keys for their own language and specialty. But India, we don't see those kind of keyboard content in India. We had challenges for different reasons. So most people do not start or never learn to typing in Indian language. That's again a challenge which we have, which we have to solve. Something similar, I think, I remember in 2008 or 2009 when they opened iOS store, we were trying, okay, can we do Unicode in our apps, and will it render properly? In those days, web browser or Safari browser on mobile phone had a problem. The embedded the App Store apps, right, could not render Indian language. Okay, so a lot of characters. So I think 2009, 2010 or 11, I think we built our own virtual keyboards in Indic language, Tamil, Telugu, and multiple languages, 2 or 3 languages we implemented, and so the current we built it at that point of time. It was a kind of a hack at that point of time. There was a standard at that point of time, but last 15 years, a lot of changes have happened since then. Okay. So now people start entering with a virtual keyboard, a touch keyboard on either Android or iPhone. That makes life easier for us to enter. But we don't enter this in on a laptop. Laptop, we still prefer to type in English. Very few people know to type in local language. This is a challenge which we have to overcome. Okay. Okay, so content translation. So now multiple companies. Okay, Google has an amazing translate service. So Google Translate, google.com offers a service. They also have an API for it. Something similar Facebook offers, because Facebook is offered to nearly 4 billion people are using Meta services, right? Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. So they have some translation capabilities. They have a lot of data set available for it. And they have open source certain models on Hugging Face and other places. You can find these models and you can run these locally. So I can always give, okay, hey, on API, you can use this. A lot of these models are actually, at least a basic version is available as open models, which you can download. And if you have a GPU or a system for your company or office, we can run these content locally. Yeah, so this will come into the second part. Okay. Okay. So again, okay, OCR part. Okay. There is a, I think Vikhyat is one guy. I think he has a open model called Surya OCR. So it's not a very specific language specific, nearly all the languages. And if you have a GPU, it does pretty fast. And accuracy is 80 to 90% plus to begin with. I did one sample work for a client where we took, like in India, like election data, right? The voter data is given to all the candidates for them to canvas for voters. But this is given as PDF. So the version they get is it's more of an image. Each frame is a kind of, each page is an image. You can't do a simple OCR with whatever Acrobat provides. You have to convert into this and do it. Okay, that's something. And again, the problem is the encoding is different. Right? What the government or state government is a different encoding system. State government, other softwares use different encoding, right? Brahmi, Latha, then Lipi is there. There are multiple versions of it. Murasu, Anjal. There are a lot of font formats, right? So, but since the character is being scanned, something like Surya can help you scan this as well. Okay. Also, how do you read a layout? So we could solve it. We have 2 or 3 models for it. Okay. So those who are interested, please ask us a question or maybe message Saudanya or maybe after the feedback part, you can tell. I can come for a one-to-one call with you, maybe sharing the links and code which we have done, and I hope that will help you on that part. Okay. So OCR is currently possible. Okay. So what are other things which AI can come into play? So on a longer-term basis, probably people will use less keyboard. Maybe a phone device will be used more. Now, if you want to do a speech input or a text-to-speech and ASR is required for it, there are 2 things are required for it. Again, these models are coming out now. We don't have good open source models in all Indic languages yet. But the challenge earlier was we didn't even have data sets properly. Now, because of Sarvam, other people, some data sets are available for audio. which are tagged properly, and hope we'll have later this year. We should have some models. Okay, I've done some early models for text to speech. F5 TTS is there, which got released. See, lot of open source are also coming from China. Though maybe politically I may not like China for whatever reasons, but the model wise in terms of image and audio, text to video, image to video, all these models are coming up very well from China. So we can explore a lot of these models, right? So text to speech is hope by this year and or maybe early next year we should have at least 3 or 4 models available for text to speech. Okay, so the next part would be ASR. So that will be speech recognition, right? So automatic speech recognition. So if you have an audio stream coming into play, can you convert into text? Let's say we are doing a meeting, right? Since I'm speaking only in English, it's straightforward. But in the other meetings, we are using multiple languages. Okay, can we recognize? So we need to have again the challenge is like we don't speak a pure language. Most people speaking Tamil or Hindi or Telugu or even Kannada, they will include some other languages, words and sentences which comes into play, and recognition becomes difficult. Whisper is still number one for a lot of use cases, but I think NVIDIA and others are releasing a couple of more models coming into play. Also, on your device, on-device AIs are also coming up well on that part. You may have some challenges to overcome. Maybe can we avoid noise in some way and can do something else that also is an interesting thing to solve for. Noise separation models are available. I think Facebook has a model called DMux. We can separate voice and background noise or music from that platform. So that becomes possible. And the next would be, okay, there's another tool called UVR. Okay, so Ultimate Vocal Remover. So we use it for voice cloning, everything we do it. The holy grail of at least the language technology can we do real time? So while somebody is speaking, what if we can have a subtitle coming in that play? That could be one part of it, okay? Or if you can expose this into a consumer portal. Maybe you have an inquiry, okay? Or let's say a HR use case, you can do a technical interview, right? So somebody's want to do an interview and a Zoom call is being made, and this call is being done by a AI version of it. I can actually have a demo with me, some videos available for it. So there are a bunch of things has to do. Okay, first part is context. You have to understand the context, generate a speech, a question or context. Based on this, assume what questions to be asked, convert into a particular person with a voice to it, and then do animation for it. Okay, but the interesting part is also you have to capture the other person's voice plus text and understand the context and respond to it. And having doing it real time is what makes it interesting. Okay, is it easy so anybody can implement? Probably, I'm not saying this is all easy on day one to implement, but the good part is nearly every major feature, let's say a foundational model or a big corporate which releases it, okay, maybe Google is releasing feature or Facebook or OpenAI or Cloud, right? Something equivalent comes in that space within weeks or months from open source as well. And at least there's some models which we can run locally quickly. So that's what is an interesting factor for us to work on, right? So that's again an interesting way to approach it. So we can come with a lot of use cases for it. Can you do outbound sales calls? Yeah, the spam can happen as well, but that would be interesting approach towards it. Or let's say maybe we're calling a call center and humans are pretty busy and wait. If you called any bank, let's say ICICI or HDFC, you end up waiting 5, 10, 15 minutes to talk to actual person, okay? And given option, hey, will you be wanted to talk to AI and who can respond immediately, right? So eventually that thing will fall into place in India, other parts as well. And why this actually matters for us would be the cost per token. Ultimately, the computer is improving. Nearly 10 times the price is falling. So maybe in 2022, the best model before ChatGPT was GPT-3. They used to sell tokens at about 1,000 token price point, right? 1,000 token will be this many dollars. That's the pricing point. And now the order of magnitude has changed, and now we don't even talk about those 1,000 tokens. We talk about million tokens as a reference point. And I think OpenAI pricing has gone down by 98%. Okay, we also seen speed up happening in a lot of ways. A lot of optimization happened, especially in software, and also new generation of hardware is coming in for it. Let's take example. Okay, so maybe in 2022, when I was doing creating images with stable diffusion on an Intel i9 machine, it used to take about nearly 4 minutes to generate one frame of image, 512 by 512 pixel. That's about quarter megapixel. That's what we could do. So that was an early period, but by last year, that's about 2023, nearly one and a half year, And instead of using a CPU, I was using RTX 4090 GPU, right? So from 4 minutes, it dropped to 4 seconds for one full frame, right? And from there, it has even improved from there. Okay. Now there are some demos which I have seen where, or even local, it does in sub-second. So again, another order of magnitude improvement which has happened. Okay. By the time you're typing a prompt, you are generating new images coming on your screen. That's kind of thing has already happened. And where it will lead, which will have optimized model, where we can do continuous replacement of one image with another image or animation on real-time animation. This should become possible. So these are areas as an improvement happening. Are there any limitations? Yes, there are limitations. Not every model is perfect. But the good part is a lot of competition is happening. A lot of open models are coming into play, from image to text to speech to recognition to generation. Okay, this is again these are interesting parts. Similarly, like from translation to a lot of other content is becoming possible now. Similarly, if you have a text content, can we create an AI podcast? So, like if you've seen Notebook LM, though initially they're offering only English with 2 languages to begin with, we'll see more models coming or more language and voices coming in the market soon. So these are areas which I think would be interesting for people to explore. Okay. Again, see, I'm available. Okay, so if you have any questions, we can start them as well. I can talk about more theory part. I'm not showing any presentation for now. Just to gonna gauge a feedback on that and see how we can work on it. So then if you have any questions, you can let people ask question and see if you can answer it. And maybe then I can cover more interesting notes.
Surely. If anybody has question, please raise hand and we can take them.
Hi, Senthil.
Hi, Tim.
Recently, I met a gentleman from Latvian, and we were talking about this voice structure. So they're in the healthcare space,
Okay.
and they want to extract the what do you call the conversation between a doctor and a patient, or they want to translate it. And they are very successful to do it in English as well. But they were asking, have we done? I mean, what is your thought process on doing about Latin in that case? Because some of the terms are in Latin as well, and
Okay.
Russian. Okay, but that's one side of the thing. But otherwise, when we are trying to talk to people in India as well, right? There's a request of, have you done anything other than any major languages that is across for a customer service point of view? And to whomever we talk, they say, we are also still trying. Is there something that new that you're going to bring in? And we are very unsure about when will this get solved, or is there a way that we can get solved? Yes, I also see that like Sarvam or Bhashini that is also coming into play. How good it is of being of an effect for us to use it to get those transcriptions?
Okay, so we have to define certain parts. Okay, so how are we recording it? Okay, so first part, are we starting recording everything? That's a good part to do. And can we compare with previous models? Can we again do it again? Okay, hey, did the quality of let's say transliteration or whatever, or if you're using a transcribing rate, has it improved? Okay, what is the error rate? So we can have standard. See, once LLMs were coming in, right, the first thing which happened was some kind of, let's say, a competition should happen. Right? So this is how we will rate multiple LLMs. These are way we'll evaluate it, and the scores start coming into play. Similar is happening for voice as well. Right, a new model is coming in. Okay, 11 labs and everything. So again, Hugging Face is launching a couple of these models. So people are not told which model is doing it, and they have to say, hey, they have to give feedback. Hey, I like this or I like it over that, right? And how human this. So it's not told, but eventually we'll see. Hey, a lot of people are liking a new model. And that's how new models are coming into arena. So we need to have an arena for that. For even Indian language, okay, government has been doing certain things. Okay, I think Pune has this. I think I forget the name. So they have supercomputing everything. So CDAC, I think they've been doing a lot of language part from 90s to 2000 onwards. Okay, a lot of this content is kind of constrained in some form. Okay, we have to give more content to them. We have to get more samples, more voices, more variety is required for Indic part. Okay, once we have some benchmarks and some with volunteer system, if we can create data sets, we can see how we can improve it. See that let's say Whisper, right? Whisper is good to some extent. If you're doing a normal talking, it kind of works. I tried transcribing with movie dialogues. The movie, the problem was they had huge music. Then they have done some kind of effects. Each time Rajnikant speaks, right, the vibration they add some vibrato to it, they will add some echo. They do a lot of other effects to it, and suddenly transcribing not possible. Second part, what is the speed is very fast. Speeches are fast and slow. There were issues with that part, right? So again, so under we have to kind of which context what content is available. The better the data set eventually will solve. I'm not saying day one will have all the answers for it, but getting 80% is good enough in most cases. 80-90% is straightforward in a lot of models. Like Surya with OCR, they are supporting nearly 80 languages, and the accuracy level they have given it. They give samples, and you can try it themselves. And if you have a local machine, you can install and try it as well. So I've done a lot of these transcriptions myself, which gives me confidence. Okay, hey, these are possible for now. The one thing which I still lack would be a good text-to-speech model, right, which can pronounce Indian languages well. With OpenAI, everything, I still have challenges with that. Their models are able to do about 70-80%. They're not there yet. But hope once the data set is available, more users are using it in local language, they'll have a bigger test set and they'll improve on it.
Right. And what is the model that you said? Sorry to interrupt. Surya, right? Surya is
Surya OCR. Surya OCR. It's a GitHub open source code. Even if you don't make up to $3 or $4 million revenue with their services, he's fine with the open source version of it.
Okay.
And all these developers are available on Twitter or X, right? You can comment on them, they will respond to you. On Hugging Face, you can comment on it or message them and they'll respond back to you. That's a whole part which comes into play. These are 100% open source models, and all the versions are available. And they're also working on improving it. Okay, so okay, hey, how do you make the model smaller? Can you do quantization? So you can talk or give options, and they'll give suggestions for it how to implement it.
Sure. And according to you, I mean, this is also a question that we usually get, right? Because I'm not from the technical side. I understand, talk to from the business angle. According to you, how much have we come from when it was introduced to now with regards to the translation and the transcription that is happening?
Okay, my background is 100% open source. I've been a self-learned developer. I did some PHP way back in 2000, early 2000s. Okay, after 2004 onwards, 2005 I think I moved into Rails. When they had Rails Factory itself. Then up to 2018, I'm doing more on Python. Okay, so I don't want to buy a very costly infrastructure. I don't want to commit to a long term for it. I will prefer to try do experiments. So that's what my interest was. So open models are good for me. Data sets are good for me. Something. See what let's say GitHub did for a whole generation open source, right? Hugging Face is doing for AI. So a lot of data sets are available, a lot of models are available. Recently, I downloaded a 100 GB. I had space, 100 GB data set overnight, which would have been impossible 2 decades back when I was doing a lot of other things. Okay. So this was all songs. I want to say, hey, which is the best lyrics? So these were song generation, which is Suno does. Somebody had scraped all the data set and they're exposed it in some way. Minus, okay, which lyrics and which songs sound good? So can I create a data set viewer? So I have open sourced it on Munium AI page. You can find us Suno better prompts. I think is what I think repo I have open sourced it. So data sets are available. Okay, you specifically talked about actually healthcare uses. Okay, the challenge is how do with other words for it, right? So where I think AI will go would be see if you're going to any developed nation, right? US or UK, generally meeting a doctor is not a quick process. In India, we can actually on an app we can book somebody who's available and pay some money, and we can go and meet immediately. In US, it may take days, sometimes weeks to actually meet a doctor, right? And again, the doctors, the whole system is designed to optimize doctors' time, not patients' time. Can we have a quick response? That's a part. And again, they will do a lot of testing and everything. Then only what they will kind of diagnose you and probably prescribe you some medication, right? That's the process that comes into play. So your first line of defense might be you want to talk to some AI and say, hey, these are my symptoms and these are things. And probably you may have a smartwatch or a ring or some other device which monitors you all apart. And maybe there's a system where it has your previous health records. And your first diagnosis might happen from AI.
Right.
Hey, these are symptoms I have, and what differently you did. Did you eat something extra different? Well, first version will be this. And the report also, chance of you getting a better diagnosis also higher with AI. My personal experience has been with that part. Okay, you are okay. Like whenever I get any prescription, sometimes I get I asked dad to send his prescription to me. Okay, so he's in late 70s. So sometimes he complains of some symptoms, something. I was okay. You can't talk too much over a phone and okay, hey, send me that part. I will get this prescription transcribed by ChatGPT or any other tool, and it able to identify which medication has been prescribed and give me a reasoning for this. Probably he's aged this much and this health case is there, and probably doctor is diagnosing this under these circumstances. You get some input on it, and once your medication name is available, you can do one more search through Google or whichever platform. You say, hey, what are the side effects? Already he's taking this medication. See, not all the doctors remember every other medication. A person, somebody's in 60s, 70s, they take several medications, right? Is there a side effect which is causing something, right? A pain or some other symptom or a bad sleep, right? So if we can identify that part, hey, can you ask their doctor for this one more thing and confirm it? So we are reassured more with AI in these kind of things. At least for my age, I'm able to do a lot of these parts. But over the period, what if like we are offering RAG, right? What if our medical data is available in some kind of RAG interface and we can expose it to AI model, say, hey, my past experience, I have gone through these, I have these symptoms and everything, and the treatment I have taken, and now I'm coming this symptom. It remembers the good part of the computer AI, they remember all. A doctor who sees and he has multiple patients waiting, or maybe you're the last person of the day and he has seen about 100 patients in a day, right? He may not have enough time to go through all the context and possibility before going in. That's the whole part which comes into play. And I'm not saying doctors are not required. I'm not saying surgeons are not required, but their role will be, hey, AI is based on all this information. AI is saying this. Do you concur? Right. So it will be more of a second prompting is what second level verification is where probably the AI will come into play. This is going to happen in a lot of industries which we are seeing. Okay. So basic work, all the grunt work will be done by AI and accurately, and we'll have data to say which version of AI is how accurate and what model suits you. This kind of data will be publicly available in coming years, right? So similarly, voice enabled. The idea is which system will provide, will government provide for all, right? Maybe in 10, 20 years when people talk about, okay, hey, like telemedicine or remote kind of thing, right? We had challenges. How does it being practical? Will it work, right? Like ISRO was doing some experiments with the army or defense were doing in this part, okay, remote part of it. We'll have a video conferencing. I said, but with the AI, these become possible. And also there'll be at least some level of AI which will be available on a device itself, can provide you basic instincts, right? Maybe every phone built this year or next year onwards will have some inbuilt AI model running locally without an internet connection. It can still answer your questions. This should become possible.
Thank you so much, Senthil. We also have one more question
Sure.
on the chat box. Please. It's given by Jay Ganesh.
Can I ask you to, okay, I'm on a phone actually, right?
I can read. Jay Ganesh said, while we are talking about the language, right? Jay Ganesh has mentioned that he has built a mobile app on Azure Speech APIs, which translates voice from X to Y language.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, like since like we were talking about this one, so like I just want to understand like how like these services like Google or like Azure, they provide an like out of the box APIs to do this, right? So how does they differ from the one like what we discussed right now?
Let's define two parts. Okay, so there is something called IPA, International Phonetic. So equivalent. Okay, say how this character or combination of characters should be pronounced. I think that's some standard available for it. Okay, paid text-to-speech APIs are available for nearly 2 or 3 decades. Okay. Simple call center based AI version. I think there was some kind of speech recognition available in IBM Via Voice way back in '99. I think I've used something in those days you can spell a word and they have captured something similar to it, 80% accuracy, they could do it. But your speech not as a sentence, you will speak word by word. And they will give you specialized mic for it. So I've done some version was there for a very long time. But the good part is like now recognition is far better. Your phone can recognize far better, right? Your internet speed has increased significantly. Okay. And eventually the idea is how much what will it cost to you to run something on that part? If you have 100 hours of content, will you be able to do it with the system on that? So those are areas which we have to work on. What if we can come with think about, okay, a 3-year-old kid, right, born in Bangalore can speak 4 or 5 languages. If you have neighbors who speak multiple languages, right, like English plus Tamil plus Telugu plus Kannada, Malayalam. This is pretty common in a lot of places in Bangalore or in other cities, right? Urban cities where people speak multiple languages, 2 to 3 languages. Okay. So their vocabulary data set is not a huge data set. So they're able to recognize audio is similar. We need to understand the whole part is that we're linked into that part. So earlier models or maybe larger models came in, but think of it, okay, see, till Llama 2, right? I think we had 70 billion model or a 4 billion model. Those are the ones which were doing a lot of work, right? But now 8 billion model of Llama 3.2 can probably beat Llama 2 70 billion, right? That's the kind of thing which is happening. Or a 3 billion model can beating a 20 billion. So these are areas. So some kind of compression is happening. So maybe we will have a more universal model coming into play, right? Something which can understand images and also listen to audio, maybe ignore the noise and not even translating into text and directly coming interacting with the inbuilt LM kind of thing and responding back again in speech. Maybe a 8 billion or 10 billion model to begin with, and maybe a 3 billion model will become available maybe in a year from now. So that's the kind of possibility which opens up a lot of areas for us, right? Without paying much or without having a huge pipeline on a lot of things, we may have those kind of systems in next maybe 1 to 2 years timeline. We can expect these kind of platforms to become available for on-device doing right.
Sounds good. Thanks for the inputs.
Senthil, I also have a very basic question, right? This was asked to me by one of the customers day before yesterday. He said, we saw blockchain, we saw 3.0, I mean, Web 3.0 and crypto and everything. Is AI going to stay, or what is your thought? This was a question to me. I wanted to ask this question to you.
Okay, sure. So yeah, I've been, okay, first time I used Bitcoin was when we were in Sedin, we had office in near Satyam Theatre, right? So I had a private 100 MB line. We were doing a trial and I had a 100 MB line for some time. I ran a node, Bitcoin node at that point of time. I don't know what happened to those nodes. Did we ever make money? I have no idea. I don't even remember what we did that part of it. Anyway, so okay, so two part. Web3 is a wrong nomenclature for a Bitcoin or crypto or whatever, right? Or blockchain. We still don't have a good use case for blockchain. This cannot be done in database. This cannot be done in the application. We don't have anything which is very unique. Okay, only Bitcoin or only Ethereum, only smart contracts can do it. We don't have any one reason to do it. When we had Web 1 simple HTML, okay, whatever was a Windows application or a form, equivalent was available in HTML was there. Okay, Web 2 was more usable across multiple devices. The drag and drop, a lot of interesting features came in. It still made sense. Okay, people have been trying to promote Bitcoin, crypto, and blockchain for a very long time. It's not picking up to the extent which they have. It's kind of been pushed onto people. Hey, this system has this part. Okay, but AI is not like that. When you had ChatGPT, within a month or two, nearly 10 million people have used it. Then 100 million people have used it. Okay, rollout. Think of it. Okay, so nearly Facebook has about nearly 5 billion people, 4 billion plus people who use Facebook service across their multiple products. Right. All the products have a Meta AI inbuilt to it. You don't have to pay anything. You have access to AI, which can also do image. If you use Twitter, Elon Musk, okay, he is building something on AI, right? So he's buying lots of GPUs and he's solving something on that space. If you have any operating system, if you have Apple OS, hope by this year end they will release actual features which they claim Apple Intelligence, whatever they're going to rebranding on that part, they will have it. Android is building AI into everything. Microsoft, right, in their OS and Copilot, they're adding Copilot to everything, right? So that is the fastest rollout of any technology to everybody. Do everybody realize that this feature is available? That's a different part. Are they using it on a daily basis? But people like me are early adopters. We have been doing things 1 year, 2 years before what market sees it, right? And we are seeing a lot of opportunity in that part. It will fundamentally change how people think of it. See, we never had something in plenty for a long time. We always felt, okay, we have lag of a lot of features. Nobody will prioritize us. Suddenly, these things are possible now, right? See, I do my favorite part of things, which I love, I do it. But everything else, I push it to AI to do it. So when I write any applications, whatever I'm doing my work, right? Nearly 80+% of all the code which is there is AI generated code. So I'm generating a radio app or some processing some log files or content or whatever, right? Maybe I'm copying, the rest of 20% will be at least 10%, 15% will be some kind of copy or reference code I got from somewhere. And maybe some kind of glue code is what I'm writing or some concept or the documentation. That is what my contribution to it. So from a pure developer, when I was a developer, I didn't love to write tests. I didn't love to write because it was only I'm the first customer to it. Or when the company was growing bigger, I had people to do. I hated to write front end code. I will push it to somebody and say, hey, you take care of front end part. I loved only wrote code or wherever I had to do a demo. Mostly when I was in the early part, get a client app, get the app to work and showcase some proof of concept. That's what my intention was, right? So I should have a lot of code and then I have to have a team for it. Now, maybe as a solopreneur, I'm able to do all these and more. Right? And what might happen is like we have seen, I think we era of mobile phones as such, I think we have reached its peak. Okay, we have not seen a new feature on your mobile phone in long time. Right? No new sensors have been added. We have a good camera. Every year the camera is improving slightly, battery is improving, all the sizes getting small. And that's what we have seen all these years. We're not seeing anything great happening on phone part. And there is no urgency to replace phone every year. Maybe when you had the first phones, every year, okay, they had brought a new feature. Maybe the last time I changed phone, okay, the phone 5G has come, paying on 4G is not enough. Maybe I need to upgrade a phone. Or after 3 years, the phone, okay, the camera will be far better. Or there is some other reason, or the battery is going down. Per se, I don't have any new feature which is required for it. Okay. Similarly, like needing a vision device is still probably the current Vision Pro is a huge device. VR goggles have not become small enough. But suddenly having an AI and doing less, more things become possible. We see opportunity. So really, we have hit a peak at top of smartphone per se. So more OS will happen, more AI will happen on all these features. But suddenly, AI only feature products are expected as well. Sure. I think more people have raised hands.
Yes, I just wanted to announce that we only have last 3 more, so we can take on a question or two.
Sure.
Dennis, Soumajay, you guys can.
Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, Dennis, hi.
Hi, Senthil.
Yeah.
And Prem, good discussion, and thanks for this. So I was so some use case that we are working on, and I'll keep it quick. We're looking at text to speech, and most of the voice models that we've trained, it's got a very American English bias, right? So are you aware of any models that we could train, fine tune, or something, which has even an Indian English accent works for us, but something which is more relatable? So are you familiar with any base models that we could be working with? I mean, I'm just getting into a specific use case I have, because that's something which, if you look at the voice which ChatGPT gives, it's brilliant, but it's very American.
Okay, so last year we did a lot of work. So I had cloned a lot of voices. Okay, so I'm not a good fan of using some ready-made voices, right? I would have my own.
Yeah.
Maybe I will answer on my own voice. Okay, so if you're doing a simple text, I was giving an example of this FITTS, right? That model, right? Give a 15-second voice of your sample in English or Telugu, Tamil, or whatever, and it can produce English for now.
Which one is this?
F5 hyphen
F5,
TTS.
okay. I
GitHub, the
tried
code is available.
speech TTS.
Yeah, you can Pinocchio, you can download a version and run local on a CPU or whatever, and it's improving. Okay. I've seen people, so currently English and Chinese are available, but I'm aware of at least 4 or 5 different people who are trying to do it in their own language. Maybe Korean, Japanese, Spanish, other language are doing it. Maybe when I get some more time, some work is happening in my home, maybe once I get more time, I'll find if we can do the Indian language version of it. English is not my worry at all. Okay, so English, American is not a big problem for me. But Indic language, can we do something on that part? That's something which I will do. Also, my extension is even beyond that part. Can we do something equivalent to Suno, right? Can we make this voice sing on my behalf? That's something which I will do.
Yeah.
Or take a voice which AI model provides and then convert into my voice. I've done voice cloning, face cloning, everything. I've done all those parts, right? So those models are again open source models.
Okay, thanks.
So do I have anything which is state of the art which can do any voices? No, we don't have much. But I think a dozen plus voices are available in different models. Okay, the tortoise is available there. But the thing is, the data set which has been trained on are not Indic language. American particular accents, people have put some investment on it. Indian English only available with maybe Microsoft and a couple of Google and a couple of companies. They're not doing it for small companies have not put much money on it. But if we can have our data set available for us, we can take it from there.
Sure. I'll probably connect with you offline and then
Sure,
maybe we can take
it.
from there. Thanks, guys.
We are already out of time. We'll take one last question. Somajan?
Hello. Yeah, am I audible?
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just have a general question. So like machine translation got a like kick boost after the transform architecture was like introduced by Google. So in the machining project also, like to build such a big project, usually like a cup with GPU also 1 or 2 days of training needs. So like studies are saying that quantum computing can like speed up this process. So I just want to know your thoughts on this.
Okay. Okay. Quantum computers. Okay. So there was some controversy with Google claiming they have quantum supremacy. Okay. What is quantum? So current systems are CPU driven or GPU driven. We are solving something. Okay. Compared to CPU, GPU. Like let's take example. Let's say what happens with CPU. CPU. Intel's Moore's law. Every 18 months, the system speed should double. That's the logic. Okay. But the problem is not actually that. Problem is somewhere else. Your laptop speed will not decrease. You are buying an i3 and i5. That's not the state of the art. State of the highest compute level system is what was Intel upgrading and not the lower end system. Lower end, eventually, when the generation improves, it did improve, but did not go to that extent. Okay. Second problem with that system was power consumption was keep increasing. That was a challenge which Intel went. Okay, so Intel is at current levels, Nvidia or a lot of other companies actually, in theory, they can acquire Intel if they want to, because it's less than $1 trillion. Okay, so personal money itself, there are people who have more money than that. The challenge is okay. So Intel has other challenges. Okay, Intel could never compete at a laptop level when Apple could bring a good laptops, right? With M1, M2, M3, which is highly compute efficient, right? They could do more. Intel couldn't compete on that part. For smartphones, they missed the bus over a decade back, and they're unable to catch on that part. So that will go into play. See, current for my understanding would be okay. So when you say quantum rate, maybe in 1960s, computers were used by people in white coat in big buildings and a lot of cost, right? That was we still have quantum compute in that format. We don't understand how that works. Okay, IBM claims Google is supposed to have some demos. Microsoft investing, Amazon is investing. India, we don't know. Will you have a device available locally for you? Probably we do not have a quantum device, at least maybe for a decade or something away. Okay, nuclear fusion we are waiting for last 40, 50 years. 1955 we had a hydrogen bomb, and we don't have a nuclear fusion yet. Okay, so will we have something on that part? But your existing algorithms may not even matter there, right? The way it's computed. So it will not be okay. Hey, we have a service or API available where it can do all these computer different way. They are solving a different class of problems. Can we frame our problems into their system of thinking, or the system operates differently? Like, we don't have any solution for it yet. Will there be a programming language which is generic enough, or even can humans write program for it? We are still way off on that part. We do see that. Okay. But what I see is at least AI with GPU has been scaling it about 10 times every year. Right. Earlier we have software upgrades every year or every alternate year. Now we are having upgrades with AI software every 6 months. Right. So you have ChatGPT 3, then 3.5 plus 4 plus 4.5 or 5, something like we are order of magnitude. Each time it's getting improved faster and better and cheaper. Right. So that's what is happening. And think of it. Okay. So maybe next 3 years time we're talking about let's say 10x improvement in a year. In 3 years, about 100x, 1000x in 3 years timeline, or 1,000,000 times in maybe 5 to 6 years timeline. That's what is happening, right? So,
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank
so
you.
that's a difference which I think. Oh, sorry, I had a call. Okay, that's what. Okay, so that's how that will go to happen, and that model we have to see how we can operate from that. Right? That's a world which we are looking at. So will there be? Can we leverage them? Probably not. Let it become available to large governments and things. Let's see what problems they're solving. Okay, these are low value problem for them. So maybe they're solving a different problem. That's what I feel. We'll not have an open source quantum computer available to us. Okay, but maybe quantum systems are there which are using how maybe plants are able to create glucose. Right, photosynthesis is actually some kind of quantum system. Right, it's not a chemical system. So we don't know how to harness it yet, or doing it at a particular scale. That's something which we have to work on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is all. We have already passed our time. If there's anything, you can always reach out to us. Our Senthil will always be available on his socials and email IDs.
Yes, LinkedIn, you can find me on Senthil Nayagam on LinkedIn, right? That's an easier way to reach out to me.
Yes. But thank you so much, Senthil. It was a very insightful session. And thank you all for joining.
Thanks, Senthil.
Thank you, Senthil.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.